All right, so as I usually like to start my videos on the Becoming Pro section here on this channel, I usually like to start them with a question. This one wouldn't be any different. So let me ask you this. Have you ever been through one of these moments when you're just about to finish an illustration or a piece of artwork and you're just putting those final touches, those really nice final touches, whether they are like lights, shadows, some shading, texturing work, and you're thinking that that piece is going to do really, really well. It's going to get some likes, some recognition, comments, DMs. And then when you finally post that piece, you realize there's not a lot of likes. That piece didn't really do as well as you thought it was going to do. And you don't really get that exchange. So the exchange of all the hard work for the exchange of appreciation doesn't really happen. That's exactly what I want to talk about in this video. So in this video, what I'm going to call it the conditional happiness syndrome is exactly what we're going to tackle. And I would like to give you guys three takeaway points that you can try to use them in your production, in your career, in your art style, in your work, so that you can try to see things a little different and hopefully make this journey a little better. My name's Leo and you're watching Ghost Paper. So now let's get to it. Alright guys, just before we start this video, just a quick disclaimer here is that this video is really not about how to evolve your art or your art style or like the journey of the technique of your art. This video is really going to be tackling and talking about the conditional happiness syndrome, which is something super important. And I have to say I suffer from it, and I'm pretty sure like a lot of artists, they also go through that. But I just wanted to make sure that this video is not going to talk about theory and technique. It's going to talk more about like how the health of your brain throughout your career and how you see growth for you. All right, so conditional happiness syndrome is a recurring event where you keep telling yourself, I'll be happy when, and that keeps going for many, many reasons. For example, you can say that you'll be happy once you reach a certain number of followers on Instagram. And you really want to hit that mark, and you really think that starting from that day that you hit that point, you will be forever happy, or that it will give you the happiness that you need in order to create some quality work. I know it sounds like crazy, like me saying this, but in the back of our minds, there are a lot of conditional happiness moments throughout our careers, or they can exist. For example, I just gave you one of the Instagram one, or something that could be like a tool. So say, for example, you even have like a certain marker, a certain drawing kind of tool, or even like a drawing, like a drawing tablet, but you really want a bigger drawing tablet. You really want the best marker that exists on the market, or you want like the best tool that exists for you to do a certain art style. And only when you reach that, you get that drawing tablet, or you get the best marker or that best tool, it's only when you're going to be happy and achieve award-winning work. And also, I just want to make sure to say here, guys, is that there's a difference between having a goal, having something that you want to achieve, such as these followers, such as actually getting to 1K followers on Instagram, for example, but being happy about the present, being happy about how many followers you have currently. And that is different than not being happy at all until you hit that point, or that you're not going to take any action until whatever it is that you actually, you'll be happy when, until that thing magically happens in your career so that you can start to take action. So right now I would actually like to pause the video, and I would like you to put down in the comment section down below one of these situations if you ever went through one of those. So if you have been through one of these conditional happiness situations in your art style or your journey, let me know in the comment section. If it's something about followers, if it's creating a YouTube channel, if it's getting some kind of a tool or hardware to get your art going, let me know in the comment section down below. Because the reason why I'm saying this is, as it's kind of crazy for me to talk about these things, and I'm sure they exist, and I've been through some of these. I believe that once you guys actually put that into writing, you start writing those things, you will also realize that these ideas can live in the back of our minds, and it might actually feel better to talk about them, to actually, propel them put it down into words and you start to realize, wow, this actually is crazy, but this actually passed through my mind. I used to think like this. And realizing that may actually help you in your illustration journey. So point number one, the very first one, and it's actually the most important one. Instead of leaving things, the best ones, for the end of the video, I actually want to talk about them as the first item. So really is how you see the reward. This whole time here where we're talking about conditional happiness is because the reward, what we think is the prize, the trophy, is the followers, the results, the recognition, comments, likes, and all that stuff. And if you set yourself for that, you're actually trying to get something that is not really within your grasp. It really depends on how people perceive your art. Really depends if it is actually the right moment to post throughout the week. There are so many factors. And really, if you're putting the prize and the reward onto these things, there's a huge chance for failure, because those things, once again, are not in your control. There's a lot of parameters there, and things can not be the right time, cannot be the right place, once again, and you may not get that recognition. So what I'm talking about a change of perspective and how you see things, is that instead of looking at the reward as the recognition, that you see the reward as the process. What was the process that led you to create that illustration? Maybe, and I'm sure it was, a huge breakthrough for you to think that this was, at the beginning of the video, how I was talking, like, this is such a cool piece that I'm just about to make here, or just about to finish. So that means a lot to you, and that should be already more than enough, because what you're looking here, and this is also very important, is that in this process, you've grown, you've learned something. That's key number one. You've also, if possible, you've experimented with a new technique, or you've done things a little differently. So you're trying maybe a different kind of art style, or you're trying some different colors. And this is leading you to think that this is a fresh new piece that you're making. So already doing those things and focusing on the process is probably a way better reward for you. And that's really point number one in this video, is how you actually focus that the reward is for anything that you create in your art. The second point is really incorporating new techniques in any new art that you try to make. Of course, we all want to have our definitive art style. Some people actually don't, but a lot of people want to be known for a certain thing, and that leads them to create some sort of a recipe that they want to be able to replicate and be known for that, be recognized rather quickly. When you put out something, they'll say, oh, this is a very specific style of that person. But that doesn't mean that you can't experiment that very same recipe in other mediums. So you could be printing a lot of things on canvas, and maybe you try to do that same art style as a sculpture. And then you're trying to make that same thing with clay. So like if you have like a character that doesn't have mouth and doesn't have nose, you still do those features on a sculpture if you're trying a different style. But what's really important is that if you're giving yourself a chance to create these pieces of artwork, and that is personal art that you're creating, if you take that time to actually investigate a new technique, you will come out thinking that the process is the reward, and you will also see that by trying new thing, you've actually learned something from that very same challenge or that exercise. So you've already gathered two very important things as the reward for your work. And finally, point number 3 is the lack of process. Once again, this is very, very common, and I've made this mistake several times because we're so focused on the reward as being the likes, the comments, and that piece really shining through, that one still that's going to like make us famous or insta famous, for example. We actually forget to post the process, to talk about the process. And these are things that I was actually talking a couple videos ago, and I'll post the video here on the top right section of the screen. And it's actually quite interesting because the lack of process, when I go and I ask a lot of people, I go and I talk to them about projects that I do on my day work and also here at the channel. And a lot of them, they always say that they love to watch and see the process, see what was behind the curtains when you were creating that one thing. And that is why we have films, we have movies, and we also have the making of those movies, and people love to watch those things and see how that thing was made, to be almost like together with you creating that piece of work. And this part of the process actually gives people back way more than just visuals. It gives them a little story that on what it was to create that piece of artwork that you just created. And now with what's happening here is that you're adding value to your art. And by adding value and sharing that value, you actually get, and this is something that's just happening to me lately, I'm just getting more recognition and more accomplishment because I'm sharing the process. I'm showing you guys tutorials. When I show my work or like anything I post on Instagram, I try to show the building lines, the drawing sketches. And then I talk about, in the description of that post, I talk a little bit about what's been going with me while I'm creating that, and questions as well. And to be honest, true comparison on what was before, I used to post a still and maybe a couple emojis or like the title of the piece. And that is because we keep looking at people who maybe have way more followers out there, or like they have like a much bigger crowd, and they can certainly post maybe just a still, just something that they have and a couple emojis, and they'll still get a lot of likes and a lot of comments and all that stuff. But I think that the best way to grow is to share the value and the story about your art, and then also to try new things as you create new work. If you do those three things, and that's something that I'm telling myself as well, some of the feelings that you may get, the emptiness from like posting something and not really getting the recognition that you've been looking for, I really hope that you can try that, and changing your perspective on how you see things can lead you to a better work kind of journey in your illustration. So I think that kind of summarizes this video, guys. I don't want to make it super long, but I really wanted to talk about this thing. Us going through the experience that we're living right now with social isolation and all those things, I think it's just amplifying the situation where we can't really do gallery shows. We can't really go outside and show our art to others. So I think the social media and showing things online, it's only going to grow because of how we're just living right now in the current state of affairs. So it's very important for us to refresh our minds and try to think about what we're really expecting when we post art online. So that's it for this video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, a like would be super appreciated, as well as make sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell notification icon so you don't miss any of these videos, as well as tips and tricks, reviews, speed paint videos, and that is all for you guys to be a better digital illustrator. Now on the right side of the screen, there's more content for you guys to watch to expand your skills and your knowledge in your illustration journey. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.